And they have allowed 3 straight opponents to just below 20 points. I mean, so have the Bills for that matter.
Yeah.
But this Patriots defense, they provide a lot of pressure. They create turnovers. They're good basically everywhere on the field. They have trust in their top cornerback, Stephon Gilmore, to shut down the opposing top receiver.
Yeah.
This is a really, really good defense. But at the same point, Josh Allen needs to make more plays than he did against a good defense. It's not always going to come easy like against the Giants. He has to be able to mitigate the losses against a good defense like this, and he just didn't do it today.
You know, it's funny because I think Bills fans will always tend to think that, hey, they got robbed. Josh Allen, when he was hit, the player should have been ejected from the game. But Micah Hyde kind of agreed with that. He said, if we do that to 12, we're getting tossed out of this game. What did you think about the hit?
Well, the hit was certainly one that should not have been canceled out. I don't think. If that is the way the penalty or the rule book states, to have 2 penalties that are not commensurate with one another just simply doesn't make sense.
No.
It's not like Hammurabi's code. It's not eye for an eye.
No.
I mean, it's the fact that one is hitting a defenseless receiver
and
with your helmet as compared to a hold, in which case Deion Dawkins, I talked to him after the fact, argued that, hey, I don't even think it was a hold. So I don't really agree with the fact that those 2 canceled each other out. Now, it didn't end up mattering because
you're right.
Barkley threw it over the top and John Brown came down with it. They got a first down anyway, but it's still the spirit behind the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, those 2 penalties should not cancel out one another. I'm sure the defender of the Patriots will wind up getting fined for that, but be it as it may, I mean, those 2 penalties should not cancel out one another.
I think we knew how good the defense was, and today kind of proved it even more.
Yeah.
They were dynamic. They were dominant. Is it fair to say that this defense should be able to keep the Bills in basically every game they play this year? Because they had 4 turnovers today, and it was still a 1-possession game.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget the Jets game.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 turnovers, and they won that game.
Yeah.
This is now 4 straight games where the Bills defense have allowed fewer than 20 points.
Yeah.
Which is incredible because the Jets team was a different Jets team than they are now because they had Sam Darnold.
Yep.
The Bengals team, they are not as bad as 0-3 indicates. They almost beat Seattle in week 1, and they almost beat the Bills here.
Yeah.
And then this Patriots team where Tom Brady and the running backs and the wide receivers were just absolutely lighting it up. And they bottled Julian Edelman, Sony Michel, Josh Gordon. They bottled up Brady. At one point, Brady had a worse completion percentage than Josh Allen did.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of this defense probably knows that they did enough, but at the same point, they're in it all together to where they're never going to admit that and they'll keep saying, we need to do one more play. But it's hard to do much more. I think the one thing that they'll hang their hat on is saying, well, we should have forced a turnover. That would have turned the tide. And I probably agree there, but I mean, if you're forcing 7 out of 11 3-and-outs,
that's what I mean.
That's an absurd stat against Tom Brady, the greatest to do it of all time.
What would be one thing that Bills fans should try and be optimistic about walking away from this game, maybe aside from the defense?
Wow. Dawson Knox, I think, made some really big plays.
Dude can ball.
Yeah, his one catch down the left sideline.
Into the first half.
Yeah, that was very reminiscent of a catch that Rob Gronkowski would make. And I do not say that lightly because I'm not one to really compare.